have a video now. Okay. But we talked a little bit about what a frame is, what's a media frame, or what's an Ackland frame as opposed to all the others. Just a quick background, our frame was originally created for trucks. And it was created by a guy named Jerry Ackland, passed away several years ago, wonderful guy, but he saw a truck like this going down the road. And it was one of those deals where it had a bead on the outside of the vinyl, and the bead slid into a channel like a track. And you know, there's a couple other systems out there that have that. And the heat weld had given out, and it was flapping down the road. So Jerry just kind of said, you know what, there's got to be a better way. So we came up with this 2-layered system, and you lock them together, and they self-tension. And this is kind of a picture, another picture of what prompted us to invent our frame. We're doing more walls and buildings and you know, all kinds of surfaces than we are trucks. We still do trucks, but you know, it's really taken on a life of its own on other surfaces. So this is a rough idea of how it works. There's 2 layers. In between the 2 layers goes your vinyl. And this doesn't show all the details, but it does, and that makes it tight without any moving parts. Questions real quick about the functionality of our original frame? Anybody? Okay, the one thing that this picture doesn't show that we've done probably in the last 18 months is in this bottom layer. Can you see my cursor, Jeff? Okay, in this bottom layer, we put something called a screw boss. It's a guide so that when this screw goes down through a pre-drilled hole, it drops into a channel. You can't see the channel here, but the channel is like a trough, and it hugs both sides of the screw, and the screw creates its own threads, and they're reusable. The alloy is just the right, you know, degree of hardness, actually, to where it creates reusable threads, and it's really sweet. You can change out your graphics over and over, and it's fast. And a lot of people they keep saying, well, how does it tighten the vinyl? Well, it does, but I won't get to that too much. The big thing about this frame and some other good ones out there, you want simplicity. You want, if you can, something that you don't have to worry about outfitting the vinyl or putting a perimeter or a fabrication element on your vinyl, because, and people never seem to think of this, besides the obvious added cost when you have to have your vinyl fabricated with some kind of perimeter, that takes more time, and it takes more cost, sometimes more freight. But also, when you're out on the job site and something doesn't fit, and this happens all the time because customers don't necessarily give you the right measurements, or because maybe whoever estimated the job didn't measure it exactly right, or I don't know how many times we've done a truck. When I got over to the passenger side, there was a dent or a reflector or a placard, and I had to go around it. And now, because everything was pre-fitted with this perimeter, there's no play. There's no room to adjust. And now you've got huge expenses, mad customers, you know, got to come back, do more freight. It's an absolute nightmare from something so simple. So one of the things when you look at any media frame, not just ours, but you try to look for something where the vinyl can have a raw edge or the media can have a raw edge, and you don't need that fabrication, whether that's a grommets or a cable or that Keating stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay. Questions so far? Don't be shy. Okay.
Actually, I do have a question on that screw boss.
Yes.
So let's say we put this onto a truck and I tag into that screw boss, and then the next time we install secondary graphic 6 months down the line, our screws don't line up exactly where the other screw was. Does it still work?
Absolutely. Good question. That's one of the things I love is it doesn't, you can reuse them, but sometimes people lose track. Was that, on the left, or was that piece on the right? Doesn't matter. If you don't use the same hole, it will just cut new ones. And probably that's even better. Not that anything bad happens to the old ones, but, either way, it works great. No problem. Question answered?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and just so you guys know, on our website, I have it pulled up right here. There's underneath resource or videos, there's something called the Ask Ackland Show. There's some knucklehead there that gets on and answers questions, and one of them is episode 4, and it goes into vinyl size, pre-drilled holes, the screw boss. It shows it a lot. We have a very content-rich website, and you can go there anytime and probably get a lot of these questions answered through video or through FAQs.
Can an older frame be retrofitted with a new screw boss?
No.
Okay.
Sorry. But I'll tell you what, if you have a situation where that old frame, for some reason, looks like a machine gun got to it, or you're having a problem with, I have only one situation that I can remember where one of our customers does a lot of casinos, and they had been changing them out, but their guys are, they use these big old drills, and our old system before the screw. You guys getting that interference?
Yeah.
Somebody needs to. I'm gonna mute. Whoever just got on, we're getting some background noise. Okay, that's better. Okay. Anyway, they wanted, their guys were using these big impact drills, and the screw at the time was just going through a real thin piece of metal, and they would strip them out. And that's kind of what led us to redesign the thing. We replaced them for them because we want you happy, and these frames are designed to do lots and lots of change outs without a problem. So if you got an issue, call me, okay? We'll figure something out. Okay, let me see if I covered these bullets. We'll go to the next one. Ours, no special tools. Okay, that's another thing. Some of these systems do actually, there's one system in particular, it's not a bad system, it's fairly expensive, but it's durable, but it requires a special tool that costs hundreds of dollars. And without the tool, there's no way to tension the vinyl. And so if you've got a job, or multiple locations or multiple trucks, and they're not in the same place, or even if they're in the same yard, you're just so limited unless you have a bunch of tools, which all of a sudden runs you thousands of dollars. So we try to make ours almost a do-it-yourself type product, to where you could even sell it to a client, and in order to save them money, you say, look, I'll come and do this initial install, and I'll show you, how to basically change out the graphics, and when you need graphics changed, you come to me for the printing. If you want us to change it out, we can, or you can even do it yourself. Sometimes that's a good selling piece. So other than our two extrusions, everything we have can be bought. I mean, if you didn't have screws, you could run to Home Depot and get number 10 sheet metal screws, and it'll work great. So we just, simplicity, and that's one of the things I attribute to Jerry Ackland, and I just, he always said the beauty is in the simplicity. Keep it simple. And so that's really what we try to do for sure.
Are these number 10 self-tapping sheet metal screws?
You know what? That's a good question too, because there's self-tapping, and then there's self-drilling, and then there's sheet metal screws, and sometimes that terminology is interchanged. What I tell people is they're the best one, the most reliable label is the spiral tip sheet metal screw, not the one with the drill bit.
Okay.
The cutting bit will work, but it bores a hole that's a little bit bigger, and it's just not as secure for the long term. So if you're in a pinch, you could use them, but we do supply screws with all the frames that we sell, and we give twice as many as what you'll need. We send panhead screws because they look pretty and people like them, but screws because from an installation standpoint, the guys like them better. You get more torque, they don't fall out of the drill, and you don't take a chance on puncturing the vinyl if you slip off the screw. You know what I mean? Okay, this is a powerhouse product. Here, let me get rid of this over here. Rid of this. By the way, we've got display boards. If you probably, some of you guys have them, I know. We don't charge for them. They're 12-inch by 18-inch display boards, and you just got to pay the freight, which is about $15, and you get a nice display board that you can hang on the wall or take to a meeting. This media frames in general, obviously we make our own. You guys getting the interference? Okay. Cost effective for customers, and this is another thing with any media frame. I can't encourage you enough that sometimes people actually forget when they're selling the job. They'll give the quote, and most of the time you'll probably beat another signage alternative, another sign product by, I don't know, 20-30% is not uncommon that we would come in at a lower price point than other types of signage. But I always encourage people right next to the quote, even if you haven't even talked about it or the customer doesn't know if they're ever going to change the message, show them, here's how it is for the initial cost. It's $2,000, but every time you change this thing, it's going to cost $800 or whatever that replacement cost is. When they see, oh my gosh, if we're ever going to change it, this is the only way to go. I mean, we're people that have to pull off decal wraps off of box trucks and semi-trailers or even off of some walls. They're like, I'll never get that stuff off and re-prep the surface and then do another wrap. The media is more, the installation's more, the removal is more, the prep is more. So always show the price of the product and the price of the future change out, because that's usually what closes the deal. I've already mentioned it's a repeat revenue product. That's kind of obvious, but I think sometimes, you know, we're going out trying to create business and make that sale that we sort of lose track of those people that have frames. So I would say everybody who ever buys a media frame from you ought to be in its own separate little golden database so that you can stay in front of them. Because you guys know we don't sell direct. We sell only to sign people. And we get people every week trying to get into our website, and we don't let them in. We don't give them pricing. We protect our clients, you guys. But we do have some people who will call and go, look, man, I got this frame. I don't know who did it. And we still don't sell to them. But because, you know, personnel changes at shopping centers or at the customer's place of business, or sign guys go out of business. I mean, different things happen, and there are reasons why people don't know who to call. Now, we still won't sell to them. We'll do our very best to figure out who sold it to them in the first place, but I would just really push these kind of products as a membership type thing and really know who's got them and stay in touch with them so that when gosh, we just had somebody at a campus, they bought like media frames through a sign company. And, you know, the colleges now are getting paid from these sponsors that want to reach college kids. But very likely that the person who bought those is not going to be around in a couple of years. And whoever takes their place isn't going to know how to change, you know, how to get the faces replaced. I know it sounds obvious, but I see it all the time. So just remember what a repeat revenue product is and keep talking to your people. Another reason that I think media frames of all kinds should be in every sign shop is they're perfect in a pinch. You guys own printers, probably most of you. Most of our sign companies, we realize, maybe have up to a 54-inch printer. Some people definitely have the bigger ones. But in a pinch, you need something to look very good, and it needs to be up tomorrow. We all know people have these crazy expectations that they could actually get something like that tomorrow, and it's usually impossible. Media frames make it possible. If you have some stock and you have a printer, I've had people literally cover the side of a building like the next day. And You can get paid really well for that. They're perfect in a pinch. I don't know anything else. And what's cool is, with ours anyway, it doesn't look like a banner. It's not, people call them banner frames, and we've even started to call them banner frames ourselves, just because that's what people are calling them. But I hate that term because it's not a banner. It's everything but a banner. I mean, it doesn't sag, it doesn't flap, it doesn't have washers and screws sticking out of it. It's not. This looks like a big, rigid sign. Cities are way more friendly, you know, toward frames and vinyl than they are for banners. So perfect in a pinch. And there, we got a special offer for you guys at the end of this, by the way.
Got a quick question for you.
Who am I talking to?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Dave. I didn't know if we were available. So we have a smaller printer. We're experiencing an issue where obviously the media is much larger than our 72-inch printer can handle.
Yeah.
Can you do a welded banner and install these? And if so, how durable are those?
Yeah, you can weld them, and we've done them. They're very durable usually. I say usually because we had a couple situations where, you know, we do help, even though we don't sell to the end user. We help our customers whenever we can. Sometimes we travel around the country if they get a big job and they need some help. We have a road crew. If the welding is done right, it's great. If the welding isn't done right, you see some puckering, some wrinkles and things like that. So what I would suggest doing, we're not a printer, I'll tell you guys, but we sell a lot of printing. And at first, I just didn't want to, you know, our whole reasoning for doing this at first was everybody was buying printers. And we said, you know what, this is a great way for people to maximize that lease payment, to keep their printers moving. You know, the more you print, the better your price per square foot. And most printers are sitting idle, you know, 80% of the time from what we hear. So we didn't want to, like, we were a little timid about selling printing. But we got asked so many times from people that maybe we're limited to a certain size. Can you guys sell the printing? Can we get it from you? We'd rather just get it all from one vendor. So this is our second year of selling printing. We sell a ton of it, up to 16 feet wide in one piece. And we're buying it. We're not printing here, but we're buying it right. So most people that are buying large format printing from us are getting it for between $130 and $165 a square foot. And the only time it would have a weld is if both dimensions were greater than 16 feet. So back to answer your question, Dave. Yeah, you can do it. And 9 times out of 10, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the short-term stuff because I've actually got quotes from Bret just recently on a specific project that is outside our print capabilities. So
yeah, the welds are okay. Especially if it's something big. Usually the bigger it is, the farther away people are. And the farther away people are, obviously, the less visible that seam is going to be. I don't recommend it on trucks. I really don't recommend it on trucks because even though it will probably hold, it's more obvious. And, you know, 70 miles an hour, 10 hours a day and our frame pulls hard. When you put that top cap on, there's a lot of torque.
Not to mention the liability if that thing came loose on the highway.
Yeah, and that's the reason back to how this thing got started was there was a weld up by the track on the perimeter on this other brand of frame, and that's what why we kind of invented this in the first place, or why Jerry did. So, does that answer it?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm not going to go through this, but I want to show it to you. Installation instructions. This is a PDF. It's on our website. It's easy to download. It tells you pretty much everything you would want to know step by step, and it even has an installer's hotline. We are available on this number even on weekends. We try to be 24/7 or very close to it. If somebody's out on a job site and they have a problem, and this happens, sometimes a sign company will hire somebody to install it, and neither one of them is very familiar with it. So we're available. We walk people through installs all the time, and some of them are a little tricky, you know, oh, I'm on this building, but there's a, you know, a catwalk, and I'm not sure how to get the vinyl up there, and we go through all kinds of stuff with people. So I just want you to know that's available. It's on the website anytime under resources. The way it works anyway, it doesn't assemble, it assembles on the substrate. So you can see here's a truck. You make your picture frame, and then once the picture frame is in place, we call this the base plate, and you pull off a tape liner on the perimeter, and it's an 1.25 inch wide strip, and that holds your vinyl in place. It's like having 20, somebody said to me yesterday, it's like having 20 hands, you know, 20 sets of hands all the way around my picture frame to hold the vinyl in place until I get the top cap on. One thing everybody asks is, what about when I change it? Do I have to change the tape? The answer is no, you don't. The tape holds 75% of its adhesion for life. So you pull that liner off, or you pull the banner off, let's say, the vinyl, and just put on a new one. I mean, if you left it exposed to dirt and elements and weather, you know, you might need to replace it. But if you do have to replace it, you just put the old one on top, or the new one on top of the old one, and keep going. You don't have to pull it off or prep or anything like that. You begin at one of the corners. This is obviously a real small frame, but you begin at a corner and you just work your way across. The vinyl, the vinyl is always going to be the same size as the frame. You don't want it bigger or smaller. Just go with the same size. And you work your way across. Just get a muscle. You don't have to have a lot of technique. You just get it tight on the perimeter so that there's no visible slack. And then once you get the top done, you go to the bottom edge right in the center, and you work your way from the center to the corner, and then from the center to the other corner. And then you put the top cap on, and that's what this gentleman's doing here. One of the guys on this call is Jeff. He's putting the top cap on, or we also call it the cover plate. And the cover plate has pre-drilled holes. Can't really see them, but they're about every 15 inches. So the screw goes in the pre-drilled hole, pierces the vinyl, drops down into the channel, and draws that vinyl really tight. Makes vinyl tight and wrinkle free. Here's a side view of it. There's a little claw that goes behind, and there's also these teeth that drop down into a channel, and you can't see the screw boss, but it's up here too. That screw goes through the vinyl into its little sleeve, and it's beautiful. There's some videos online that show, we call it the wrinkle taker outer. You can see it in action. Here's a side view, just how it works. And you'll see that if you get a display board too. Here's a change out. To change out the vinyl, you just remove the cover plate, peel back the vinyl off the perimeter, stick on the new one. Going across, reusable. Another benefit to media frames, not always a benefit with other types of signage. It's reusable. So you could literally, if they did a 50% off turf sale in May, next May they can use it again. Just put it in the closet, use it again. Same thing on trucks. You can reuse the vinyl and reuse the frame. And I've even had people take the frame off of a wall or a truck, and reuse it that way too. Everything is 100% reusable. Another good benefit. There's the finished product. There's a video on our website. This is an, Jeff, this is an 8x12 or 6x8. What size is this? Are you on, Jeff? Oh.
Yeah, that one's an 8x6.
8x6, and we have a time-lapse video of Jeff changing out the vinyl. Actual time was 12 minutes. And they changed this one out quite a bit. And I got to tell you guys, this is at a mall in Temecula. And this mall, this is going to blow you away. This mall gets $20 per square foot revenue per month. So a 6x8, 48, they're getting $960 a month. Forget about the cost of the sign. $960 a month from several displays. They have some 3x20s inside the mall. That's bringing $1,200 a month each, and they're sold to like local car dealers. There's a jeweler that has an 8x14, and for a double-sided 8x14, they're getting $5,700 a month. It's unbelievable. And we had actually gone in with Jeff to kind of present a package to them to say, look, you got about 8 spaces that you're getting revenue from at $20 a square foot, and they loved it. I said, why don't you let us put together a portfolio, 60 spaces all the way around the mall, generate another $1 million a year, split the money with, you know, the sign company, and they ended up, you know, they merged and got new people, and some new management company came in. It didn't go, but they're still getting $20 a square foot. And this is something that I talk to the sign guys a lot about, is we're just bigger than signs. I mean, signs are great, but we're advertising. That's what this is all about. It's the messaging, and that's what people will pay for. Signs they buy once, advertising they buy over and over. Signs are always based on, you know, cost plus margin. Advertising is based on the number of eyeballs that are going to see it. So it's extremely lucrative. We have an ebook free on our website. It's called Wallscape Billboards for Long-Term Revenue. I highly recommend you download it. And just, I've known guys who went and they owned billboards. One of them retired on about a dozen faces. This guy was in his late 30s. The amount of money that that advertising generates is crazy. So some space there or there or there. We've got contracts and things to help people do that. They're almost free. If I was going to start all over, what I would do is I'd go out and find places in growing areas, wallscapes, display spaces, and I'd work a deal with the property owner, and we'd have a 99-year lease where I gave them, you know, it's kind of like the billboard business. You could have a media company and do really well, and it's so much less money when all you have is an aluminum frame and some vinyl. So big takeaway, easy to use. Any questions so far? That $20 a foot's pretty crazy, huh? Somebody say amen.
Amen.
I thought so. Okay, here's another quick one. Yes, and peel that off and re-prep when you could just cover it like this. This is 1 hour difference. You can even tell by the shadow under the truck. We did have the base plate on, and they were going to try to have this thing re-wrapped, but instead they bought, you know, $4 a square foot vinyl, or $3 or whatever they paid for it. I don't know. And 1 hour later, it looked like that, and they never even had to mess with the old thing. Why would anybody go back to a wrap? I mean, there are some exceptions, so if you're a wrap guy, don't take it personal. I just mean there are a lot of cases. In fact, we were just featured in the Sign Media, Sign and Digital Graphics magazine, where one of our customers did an article on, you know, when to use vehicle wrap versus when to use a frame. Here's another example. Do we have anybody on the line who does wraps, decal?
Yep. Yeah, Dave, that's what we are, is a wrap company.
Yeah, Dave, you correct me, I'm not an installer, but some of the people said when you have to do a job like this one, that going over all those rivets, massaging, pop them with a pin.
You lose the job based on labor costs. That's why I'm looking at this product, because it's phenomenal. It's not going to replace the wrapping a car, because it can't go around contoured surfaces.
Right.
But when it comes to box trucks, trailers, this is the way to go.
Yeah. Here's one similar kind of thing. They looked at this. The guys tell me they have to put a pin on each rivet and squeeze the air out and massage each one. I'm like, oh my gosh. So
you're about maybe 3 to 4 minutes per rivet.
Oh my gosh.
Good Lord, you're fucking high.
Okay, here's another one. Damaged trailers. They get thrashed, they get ugly. How much to make that truck look nice? I don't know. But here's how it looked with immediate frame. That's not our frame, by the way, but I like the before and after, so I took a picture of it. Simple, cost effective.
Hey, Brett, I have a question.
Yeah. What was that?
For the, it's Daryl, sorry. The harsh weather in Canada, you know, with salt on the roads and, you know, sleet and snow and all that good stuff. How are these things holding up? Are you selling to anybody in like Wisconsin or any of those spots?
Well, the most recent one that comes to mind was just probably 10 days ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. We have a company called Hauler Ads up in Canada, and they did 7 trucks. It's funny, they did it for Cuba. Cuba travel, what do they call it? Like the travel
Tourism.
Yeah, tourism. Yeah, pictures of people on the sand in lounge chairs and sailboats going by. They're promoting those in Canada right now. There's 7 trucks running around. This guy's getting a monthly revenue on the trucks. And yeah, they're happy. I mean, there's, you know, stuff gets ugly in the winter. I don't know what, you know, that's just regardless of what kind of media it is, but it works. Aesthetically, I think people would do well to hose them off once in a while or wipe them down.
Yeah, I think that would.
Yep. So yes on that. This depends on how you look at the problem. Change the way we think. We're not just sign makers, we're success brokers. And I know this is supposed to be a 50-minute webinar, and I'm approaching that, so I don't want to take up too much of your time, but there's a few more good things here. Just looking for opportunity to help your clients prosper. Obviously, that's the name of the game. Change the way you think. Signs are not just signs. Signs are advertising. That creates a repeat revenue stream, not just here's your sign. I said this once, but to recap, competitive, you know, signs are usually competitively priced. Sometimes they're commodity. You know, people are buying print now, and it's like how much per square foot. They don't think about anything else. It drives me crazy. But advertising is the potential results based on the number of eyeballs. Signs typically are a low to moderate price, you know, profit margin. Advertising is typically very high. Signs people normally buy once. Advertising people buy on a continual basis over and over. How to profit, put some frame in your game. Versatility, cost effective, built-in repeat business, great in a pinch. Just a little review. And then here's some real life scenarios. Examples of sponsored space. This is at an outlet mall. All these people pay to be in this. And they pay the management company. The management company pays the sign company every time it gets changed out. And I do know of some places where the sign company is actually in on the revenue stream, not just on the print and the install. This is a mall exterior. Most of these are Southern California. This is Florida. This is a Signs Now in Florida. Did this. Obviously, they change it because the Beach Boys aren't always there. This is the Irvine Spectrum. Parking structures are a big thing. Airports are a big opportunity. The Utah Travel Bureau put this in. Racetracks, huge. NASCAR. We have 2 customers that specialize in racetracks, and they get big money just to be there. And stadiums. This is a University of New Mexico, one of my all-time favorite jobs. It's a 6-story stadium. These graphics are 23 by 38, if I remember right. And the bank paid for it, Wells Fargo. And then later on, they brought in Bank of the West. Instead of having 2 graphics like they do here, they have 4. And they're getting big money for this kind of thing. And it's in a town, it's on a major 4-way intersection. And man, the amount of money that goes through these college athletic departments is phenomenal. You guys probably know that. New sponsor. A couple other pictures before, during, after. Wish I had better pictures. This is a picture of the mall I told you about that was getting the $20 a square foot. Question? This just to let you know, 6 by 6 here from a car dealer, $720 a month. This 3.5 by 20, $1,400 a month. And then here are these direct to the, and they have to change them because the models change. But it's a way to liven up a dealership. It's a way to, and the customer of ours said, well, this is how you modernize graphics. You put on modern graphics and nobody sees everything beyond the graphics. They just see the message. There's another one, better at the beach. Museums. This is a museum of El Paso. Want to modernize. They wanted color in a downtown area. They don't even have any words on this, but everybody knows what's in, you know, I mean, you can't miss it. Metal buildings. Great, because metal buildings are corrugated. They're almost always 12-inch ribs or 12 inches on center. And this looks like a big rigid sign, but it's a inexpensive frame and vinyl system. New construction. I love this. This is S-Mart. This is actually in Mexico, but the architects now spec the frame in to every new, keep it fresh. And from the parking lot, I mean, you see this guy, how little he is? That's a big sign. So we're getting more and more people that'll call and say, hey, the architect put this in the bid. The thing is, for us, where the challenge is, I guess, and where I would like come to you guys is we don't sell direct. And so our model is we can only do this through sign professionals, but many sign professionals are so busy in a retail setting or in a kind of a reactive mode through no fault of their own. You know, they got people coming in. Most people are not going to come in and say, can I get a media frame? Because they don't know what they are. And we don't really market that way. So we just do everything we can to try to show our customers the possibilities like this, amusement parks, casinos, appliance centers. Look at this. This is a round wall. Our frame flexes. This is the same wall on an intersection, big apartment complex. And I don't know what size it is. I would guess it's probably maybe 6 feet by 35 or something. Oops, let me back up. And so just really inexpensive way. And it's a major intersection. So everybody there sees the message.
That's a question. What I'm seeing there is you've got a radius in that?
Yeah, but the frames were not there. The base plate is pre-drilled and it'll just follow the contour of a radius. Not a real tight one. You can go around a pole or anything, but
so
you
started with flat base and just installed it that way?
Yeah, we started with the same exact frame that we have, which is a base plate and a cover plate. And the base plate has holes pre-drilled from our factory. Right. And you just mostly Tapcons, you know, use the base plate as a template, maybe put a screw in each end, tack it up there, and then work your way across with the drill bit and then the screw. And it will hug. It will do a much sharper radius than this, which is, I'll tell you where we're seeing it most is stadiums because they have so many corridors and round walkways. Right. And so, yeah, it's no additional money. There's no additional work. It just literally turns into a rounded billboard. So here's another thing about it. You don't have to do a rectangle. You can get funky. This is what, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-sided structure. Again, this is some kind of trade school or college stadium sponsored. You can fit it to any, as long as the edges are geometric and straight. This is a casino over here on the right on these tapered pylons. When people order these, we just need to get the outside dimension of all 4 sides, and then we'll figure out the angle and send it to you so it fits. No additional, it's just easy. Directionals, old barn off a freeway somewhere. Obviously, McDonald's and Marathon are paying for this basically little billboard. This one's pretty cool. I'll wrap it up in just a few minutes, but a couple more examples. This is our frame, but it's on some historic tour. So our customer took a couple of old bricks and scanned them and then printed the decal to look like the brick and then wrapped the frame in the decal. It looks like it's even a different shape. So this is like award-winning in my opinion, because when it's all said and done, I mean, that's literally our same 3-inch aluminum frame, but it looks like an old brick. And let me back up a little bit. So they did what they wanted to do to keep it looking, you know, vintage for the tour that this house was on. And they change it periodically, but that's pretty cool. So you can wrap them. You can have them powder coated, any color, 150 colors. Instant billboards on trucks. This is back in New Jersey. Somebody wanted to create revenue, and okay, this is a quick explanation of this. The sign guy knew the guy who owned the building. They wanted to create some revenue, so they went in and created 2 10-by-20s. They figured each 10-by-20 could bring in about $700 a month in a little downtown area. So they got $1,400 a month coming in. Is that right, Jeff? Are you there?
Yeah.
Am I on track on that? Okay.
Yeah.
So he signed a lease with the building owner for 50 years to split the money. And it's across from a courthouse. So they ended up, first off, they put signs up here to get the things rented, get noticed. They put a phone number, 1-800-GREAT-AD. And the people who called were a lawyer and a bail bonds, because this is within the line of sight of the courthouse as a couple. So the first 2 clients were bail bonds and a lawyer, and then later on a politician took them. Here's some things people are doing innovatively on trailers, doing them on trucks, selling the space. This is more stuff on trucks. I think this is the biggest single opportunity on the planet, because there are 30 million trucks in North America, and trucks provide massive square foot printing opportunities. It's a repeat order every time the customer changes it. It works. You can be a fraction of the cost of highway billboards, and you know, the market is wide open. There's not a lot of competition. So that's just a little tidbit. We also have an ebook you can download for free. That's Sign Professional's Guide to Truck Side Advertising. And not very many people are doing it, but the ones that are doing really great. And there's so much of it out there. Which one's going to sell more tires? This one or that one? Kind of obvious. Call it change the world thinking. Special offer for attendees, but first, do we have any questions?
This is Scott. Like, when you do trucks like that are refrigerated, are there any special things that you do? Like
yeah, thanks for asking that. I forgot to mention it. We have we're getting an echo. I don't know who it is, but maybe you guys can mute your microphone for a minute. Okay, so we have a there's a product tie bond. Most of you are probably familiar with it. We sometimes will sell the frame when a customer, what Scott asked is if it's a refrigerated truck, they don't want you poking holes in it and ruining everything. So we sometimes will pre-apply VHB to the back of the frame. VHB is the closest thing to an epoxy glue in the form of a tape. So we'll put it on. You can literally peel and stick the frames without having any fasteners penetrate the wall of that truck. I love it. It cuts the installation time down. It'll cost you, another $200 to $300 per semi-trailer, but you probably save it in labor. If you ever want to get it off of that surface, there's a solution that 3M makes. It won't come off without the solution. I could not believe when 3M came to us and said, you can do this with no mechanical fasteners. We blew them off for 2 years because it just didn't seem right. But then we tested it on some local trucks, and you have to destroy the frame and it still won't come off.
So how does that hold up in the desert Southwest? We're here in Arizona, where
Okay.
things tend to fail pretty quickly.
Yeah. Who is this?
This is Dave.
Oh, hey, Dave. Okay. Yeah. To answer your question, it holds up great. I'm in Southern California, and we tested it on some billboard trucks originally, and it was, summertime, Southern California.
Yeah, well, I'm born and raised on Huntington Beach, but I'm in Lake Havasu, Arizona, and trust me.
Okay, yeah, it's definitely worse, but we will stand behind it 100% because 3M is a behemoth, and they back it. They actually, I don't know if you guys, I don't want to go too far off topic, but we have a brochure, and I'll send it to anybody who wants it. They have built buildings out of this VHB where they put it on the glass building. It's a glass building with a metal frame, and so they put the VHB on the metal, and they did this wind tunnel test. And literally, the wind got up to 200 miles an hour before the glass shattered. And when the glass shattered, the only thing left was the perimeter where it was stuck to the VHB. So they have a Disney building, and they're actually starting to manufacture trailers now without rivets. They're just overlapping the vertical panels. Instead of having a vertical line of rivets, they just put VHB in between. And it's amazing because, the panels expand and contract and get this mottled look on a truck, mottled kind of like, not wavy, but the VHB also expands and contracts, so they actually look more like a mirror coming off the assembly line. So if anybody wants that information, hit me up after this webinar. I'll send it to you. It's fascinating. It'll do fine in Havasu.
Cool. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Anything else?
This is Scott again. Are most of these the banner materials you're using scrim banners, or could you use I'm thinking about like a inside application for something kind of nice would be like a smooth banner or any other materials?
Yeah, we typically, I'd say 90% of what's getting used is 13-ounce banner vinyl, but we recommend 15 or 18 on trucks. For an inside something you don't want to see, well, it'll work with anything, let me say that. I've seen 7-ounce, I've seen people use 20-ounce, and we have another frame for indoor applications, which wasn't really part of this webinar, but it's on our homepage. It's about 40% less expensive than our normal frame. It just isn't for heavy duty. The frame, you can use dye bond, you can use a rigid surface, or banner material. So any of it will work. But you guys probably know those substrates better than I do, or at least the media. Cool? Does that answer, Scott?
Thanks. Yep.
Okay. Here's our offer for all of you guys. If you don't have a display board, we'll ship you one. We'd like you to pay the $14.95 in shipping, but in addition to our display board, we're going to send you also a display board for the flip that we call the snap cap frame, and some hand samples that you can leave with customers. It's all going to come for $14.95. It probably costs us $75 or something to make all of it, but we'd love to get those in your hands. So if you want that, no problem. There's a link. One other thing we want to offer you is if you can use one of these and you would like one at your shop or on one of your trucks in your showroom, we'll do it for 50%. We'll send it to you half off, because we know the best thing we can do is get this in front of people. And so if you can use that after this webinar, let us know. We'll get you on 50% off, no problem. We've got links on our website to get you all this stuff. So you can get the wallscape half off. You can get a whole set of display boards for $14.95. Sorry, just a second. Okay, and then so minimum value of $195. Oops. This is the end. Let's do this. Get on the frame train. If the answer is yes, click on the link in the chat box. Actually, I'm just going to tell you to email me. My email is Bret, B-R-E-T, not Brad. We have Brad also. But Bret, B-R-E-T, at acklandmediaframes.com. I'll get you whatever you want, guys. We just want to help you build your business. We know that'll help ours. Any questions?
Does that include shipping to Canada?
Sure. Hopefully there's only one Canadian on this call. Yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah, I think there's another Canadian that, this is Bob in Brantford, Ontario.
Oh,
yeah,
hey, Bob.
Daryl in Nova Scotia too is going to hit you up on that.
Oh my gosh, that's a go. There goes 300.
It'll be worth it.
So
Yeah.
we'll do whatever we got to do.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. I really appreciate it, you guys. I hope I covered it. I hope you can see the potential in this. We have, you know, we send out a lot of content and we're kind of crazy about it, but we just trying to, I don't know, I heard someone say the other day, look, you're self-employed. Sometimes you got to leave the cave, go out and kill something and drag it home. I was like, yep, exactly. So here's hoping that you guys keep leaving the cave and going out and killing something and dragging it home. And if we can be part of it, we really do appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks, Brad.
Will this presentation be available to us?
This presentation?
Yeah, is it being recorded?
It is being recorded. You see this little red cassette thing up here? It tells me it's being recorded. I will send it out if you like it.
Sure would.
Okay, I'm just going to say forgive me in advance if it's glitchy, because I've never recorded one of these, but I think it's going to be fine. Join.me took us through a training, and you know, I think it'll be okay. If it doesn't, I'll do another one and send it to you.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Yeah.
Jeff.
Yes, sir.
I noticed the email about the podcast that you were you said is coming. You want to talk a little bit about that, or just?
Yeah. That's cool. Thanks for asking. We're having a podcast. Podcasts are pretty big right now. There's no industry podcast that we could find. Ours is going to be called Signs of Success, and we're going to interview somebody from the sign industry every single week. We're going to just talk about, you know, success tips and secrets, and we have a lot of customers that are doing some really cool stuff. It's not all going to be about the frame by any stretch, but it is all going to be about entrepreneurship and, you know, how some of these customers are doing something just a little bit different and they're killing it. So we've got a lineup that is really cool. One person specializes in stadiums and events, and another person specializes in casinos. We got another guy. Anyway, they're all from a different angle. But yes, it will be starting in the next few weeks. We're going to email everybody about the content, and we're going to try it. We're just going to see. The industry is kind of old school, and we just tell us they like about us is that we can relate to them because we're in the trenches just like they are, and we want to bring that to a listening audience. So we'll be doing that very soon. All right.
Cool. Thanks.
Oh, one other thing, if you guys could, when you get our videos, if you would subscribe to the videos, if you like any of them, just click subscribe. That helps us. And I didn't want to go too far over. I want to respect everyone's time. But the next webinar that we have is going to be specifically about trucks. It's going to be all about truck side advertising, and for people that want to look at that market a little bit more closely. And then the one after that is going to be on the wallscape concept, just to help people go out and create long-term revenue that you can actually retire on. So those will all be coming. All right. Thank you, guys. I'll email everybody a link to the specials that we offered. And if there's no more questions, then we're going to wrap it up. Going once. Going twice. Thank you. Signing off. That's what he said on the webinar. That's what he said. Good.